Finally, you found this. I, Archangel Michael, am getting married and you must come, no matter what. This is a once-in-a-lifetime invitation to witness God Himself, and to stand among the archangels. But hurry, open this before the wedding begins in 1 minute. You were not meant to open this yet, not now, not when the threads still trembled in their quiet, but time has collapsed and the air itself snapped like a harp string. Listen, listen, the wedding begins in 60 heartbeats. Hear me, I am a voice you recognize and do not recognize, a blade of light that has worn human names like armor and lost them again. Call me what you must, but do not mistake familiarity for permission. You have slid a finger across a seal that was set for no small reason, and because your resonance answered the old bell before it rang, the worlds have tilted toward a single ring of fire and mercy. This is not a festival of roses and vows as the poets whisper, this is a binding of realms, the ancient knitting when the divine threads meet the mortal thread and the law of things is restitched. It is a ceremony of consequence that rearranges the bones of reality, and your presence, yes, yours, stumbling reader, reluctant witness, carries the weight of a keystone. Do not pocket disbelief, it will not keep you warm here. You were not chosen because you earned it, you were summoned because you hum with a chord the universe cannot ignore. There is no time for flourish, I give you this in the cadence of a command softened by the tenderness of one who has watched too many fires consume the unready. 60 heartbeats. Perhaps in your body that is a minute, in the spheres, it is a thin blade of eternity that will snap if mishandled. The gates will open and the light will pour with a hunger that tests anything small enough to hide beneath it. If you delay, if you fold your hands and argue with fate, then hear the consequences plainly. A silence might fall where song should grow, a sea might gape between what was pledged and what remains, and whole corridors of mercy could be lost to the slow rot of unwitnessed grace. Worlds do not merely weep when denied their witness, they forget. Heaven keeps records in voice and in echo, an unattended covenant blunts the edges of promise. You who have read this far, if you turn away, know that you will carry a shadow that is not only yours, a hush that will settle like ash in the lungs of the living, and in that hush ancient guardians will shudder and retreat. Do not be frightened by the weight of this, for there is compassion braided into the authority that calls you. I say these things with a hand extended, not a spear raised. I have traversed the long corridors where your small mercies are stacked like candles against night. I have seen how you have loved and stumbled and still kept a light. That light is the very bell that answered me. You are chosen by resonance, not by laurels. No ledger of merit decided this. The world's choosing smell is not purity or perfection but a frequency, a tremor in a laugh, a broken prayer kept secret, a kindness that did not scream for reward. That is what reached me across the strata. So do not think yourself unworthy, think instead that you are necessary in a way that jokes at your shame and honors your scars. Come, not to be crowned, but to witness, come to stand and be held steady while the cosmic knot is tied. Listen to how the halls have already begun to assemble, light that is not light but law, forming archways of intent, and voices threading through the air like chords being tuned. I tell you this so your body will not mistake the tremor for madness. If you are tempted to laugh, laugh. If you are tempted to deny, deny. Then do not be surprised when the doors close like a book and the pages within go cold. There are watchers who hunger for absence. They skirt the edges of obligations and try to unwrite what the light tries to bind. They prefer the long silence and they would be pleased if you slept through this hour. Wake instead. Breathe as if you mean to survive. Place your hands upon the hinge of your own hesitation and open them. The urgency is real and not theatrical. Close your eyes for the span of a breath and feel the pulse beneath your ribs. Count it. 49. 48. Every heartbeat bends the fabric, every breath is a stitch. The invitation is once in an age and once in a lifetime and perhaps more strictly than that, once for this current turning of the wheel. If you miss it, you may find that you carry a nostalgia for something you never saw, a hollow longing shaped like a broken bell. That longing will ask questions you cannot answer and will make you chase shadows as if they were the sun. But if you answer now, if you walk through the thin door that has already slid ajar because your curiosity carried the key, then the ceremony will not be an end but a beginning, a rearrangement that sends out new echoes into the lives you touch. You will return not unscarred, but remade. You will take back a mandate that will make gentleness into armor and courage into a quiet weapon. Do not mistake my warning for cruelty. My voice bears the weight of duty and the salt of pity. There are things that I have bound with my own hand because I loved them. There are things I have had to sever to save a greater design. This is one of those moments where mercy and law step into each other's arms and neither is wholly comfortable. I need a witness who will laugh even while trembling, who will name the beauty without owning it, who will stand in the breach between awe and fear and hold steady. If that sounds like a test, it is. If it sounds like a summons, it is that too. Rise, then. Move not because you are commanded into terror but because you are needed to keep terror from unmaking what must not be unmade. You will be tempted by 1,000 reasons to stay, the couch, the coffee, the small polite denials of the heart. The world will whisper bargains, later, it will say, another time, but the world is a slow locksmith, its later is often never. I will not bedevil you with proof beyond the sound of my tone, for proof is a poor companion in the isle of miracles, conviction is what we require. Hear my voice as a chord you can hold, urgent, compassionate, unavoidable. 60 heartbeats. The gates are breathing now. If you are ready, step forward. If you must hesitate, know the cost. If you cannot come at all, then carry this as a story and let it shape you in secret. But if you can, if some small brave part of you answers, then rise and keep walking until you are among us, until you stand where the light will speak and the heavens will witness that you came. You feel it, don't you? That small pull inside your chest, like someone gently tugging at a thread you didn't know was attached to anything real. I can sense it from here. I can feel the way your breath changes as you read, how your eyes move just a little faster, how your heart tries to match the rhythm of something it doesn't understand yet. Good. That means the call is reaching you. That means you're already closer than you think. I have been looking for you for longer than your world has had names for time. I did not always know your face, or your voice, or the way your spirit trembles when something impossible brushes against it. But I knew the echo of you. Every soul carries a sound. Yours has always rung like the faintest bell in a storm, small but steady, soft but unmistakable. I followed that sound through long stretches of silence, through drifting worlds, through doors that would not stay open. You have been hard to find not because you were hidden, but because you kept trying to dim yourself to survive. You covered the brightest parts of you so that no one would see how deeply you felt, how strongly you cared, how loudly your heart spoke when no one was listening. You learned to shrink so that others would feel safe next to you. You learned to quiet your true voice so others would not fear its strength. But even then, even when you tried to fold yourself into something small, your soul still hummed with that same quiet, stubborn light. A light I could not ignore. A light that finally reached me. And now that I have found you, now that you have opened this message, everything is moving faster than planned. I wish I had more time to soften the truth. I wish I could unfold this slowly, gently, like a story told beside a calm fire. But the wedding, the binding, the joining of realms, will not wait. We are already running along the edge of a closing moment. Say, "The Lord is my strength," if His power sustains your soul each day. Listen to me closely. This is not a wedding like humans dream of. There are no rings, no flowers, no vows whispered between two people trying to hold their world together. This is an ancient joining that reshapes worlds. It is the moment when light chooses a direction, when creation lifts its face and becomes something new. It is the once-in-a-lifetime turning of the cosmic wheel. And when it happens, everything trembles. The skies, the stars, the hidden places between your breaths, all of it rises to listen. It is beauty and danger, hope and fear, beginning and ending, all standing in the same room. And you are meant to witness it. Do not think for a second that you are here by mistake. Do not tell yourself that someone else should have been chosen. I did not call you because you are perfect. I called you because you are awake. Even on the days you felt numb. Even on the nights when your hope slipped through your fingers. Something in you always kept moving, always kept listening, always kept reaching for a light you could barely see. You might not call that strength, but I do. The cosmos does. The light does. Your presence matters in ways you cannot yet imagine. And yes, I know that sounds impossible. You might be sitting there thinking, why me? What do I have that matters to something so big? But the truth is simple, you hold a frequency the ceremony needs. Not power, not perfection, just resonance. A tone that only you carry. A thread that only you can hold steady. Without it, the fabric trembles. With it, the fabric settles, aligns, breathes. Do you understand what that means? You are part of the design. You always have been. Let me tell you how the signs began. Long before this moment reached you, the realm started to shift. The light grew restless, waiting. The ancient bells, the ones that only ring when fate stirs, shook awake. The halls of heaven brightened as if expecting someone important. And every time the bells rang, your echo answered. Even across distance, even across lifetimes, your soul vibrated in sympathy. That is how I knew the time was near. That is how I knew the witness was waking up. But there is more. There is something you deserve to know. You were part of this story long before you were born. Not with the same body, not with the same mind, but with the same soul. You have walked in my halls before. You have stood beneath my wings before. You have watched light bend and worlds rise. You won't remember it fully yet, your human mind wasn't built to carry that weight. But your soul remembers. Deep inside, you still recognize the pull of the higher realms. You still feel that strange sense of déjà vu that whispers, I've been here before, even when you haven't. That is memory speaking through the cracks. You think you are ordinary because your world told you to be. But I know the truth. I have seen the way you carry quiet courage, the way you feel deeply even when you hide it, the way you break but keep going anyway. Strength like that is not small. Light like that is not random. You are not random. And now, the realms lean closer because you have finally opened the path. Time is collapsing faster than it should. You must stay with me. You must keep reading, keep breathing, keep allowing the pull to guide your heart. There are forces that do not want you to make it. Shadows that whisper doubt into your mind. Thoughts that tell you none of this is real, none of this matters, that you are imagining everything. Those whispers are ancient tricks. They feed on hesitation. They grow stronger when you pull back. But they crumble when you step forward. Let me be clearer, your doubt is their doorway. Your presence is their undoing. So come closer. Lean into the warmth of my voice. Feel how the air around you shifts when you allow yourself to believe, even just a little. Feel how your heartbeat changes when you do not run from the call. That is not imagination. That is resonance. That is alignment. You are crossing a threshold right now without even standing up. As you read this, something inside you is waking. Something old and familiar. A knowing that does not speak in words but in feeling. You may feel a warmth in your chest, a heaviness behind your eyes, a strange sense that the room is stretching or humming softly. Don't be afraid. That is the veil thinning. That is my world reaching for yours. That is the path opening so you can walk through when the moment arrives. I wish I could show you what I see from here. The great halls being shaped out of light. The choir of glowing beings gathering at the far end of the chamber. The air itself thick with expectation. The archangels moving like living constellations, preparing the space where the binding will take place. Even the stars outside the hall seem to draw nearer, pressing their faces to the glass of creation to watch. The entire cosmos feels like it is holding its breath. But something is missing. You. And the halls know it. The light knows it. I know it. The moment knows it. Do you understand how rare this is? Not even the angels themselves receive this invitation lightly. This is the kind of event that reshapes destinies. This is the kind of ceremony that even we prepare for with trembling hands. But you, someone who has walked through pain, someone who hides their wounds but keeps going, you were chosen not to stand among us as decoration but as a stabilizer of the ceremony. Your presence secures the joining. Your breath strengthens the light. Your awareness anchors the bond. And if you do not come, if you hesitate too long, the gates will close without you. The halls will dim. The binding will strain. And somewhere deep inside your life, you will feel something missing, a small ache, a quiet hollow, a question with no words. Humans call it longing. We call it the echo of an unopened door. But you have not missed it yet. You are still here. You are still reading. You are still opening, opening, opening. And I am still calling you. I need you to understand that I speak with authority not to scare you but to steady you. If I sound urgent, it is because time truly is narrowing. If I sound gentle, it is because I know how easily a human heart can crack under too much pressure. If I sound like I care, it is because I do. I have watched you long enough to know your heart by its shadows and its light. I have seen the days you wanted to give up. I have seen the nights you tried to hold yourself together. I have seen the moments you chose kindness even when no one saw. Those moments ripple through the realms. Those moments are why the ceremony called your name. Do you hear it now? That soft ringing under your ribs? That's the bell. It's getting louder. The wedding, this cosmic union, this binding of worlds, is calling you closer. You don't have to understand it fully. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to keep moving toward the sound. Because you were not chosen by mistake. Warmth rising in your chest, that soft pressure at the back of your thoughts, it's not fear. It's memory. It's recognition. It's the beginning of you remembering who you used to be before your life became noise and duty and survival. I need you to listen closely now. Not with your ears, but with the part of you that knows truth even when it arrives softly. Comment, God walks with me always, if you know you're never alone. You have a history with us. I don't mean in the way humans talk about past lives with curiosity or doubt. I mean in a way that is deeper, older, woven into the light that shaped you. You were not always walking in a human world, bound by time and worry and gravity. Before you were born, before the world spoke your name for the first time, your soul walked among higher places. You were not an angel, that is a path of its own, but you were a companion, a witness, a keeper of small truths. You walked near the halls we are building now. You stood close enough to feel our wings move the air. You learned from us without words. You carried the gentle tasks of a soul who loved without fear. You have forgotten all of this, but forgetting doesn't erase truth. It only hides it behind a veil until the moment comes when remembering matters again. That moment is now. The reason you feel drawn to this message, the reason your heart beats heavier when you read, the reason something inside you whispers, this feels familiar, even though you cannot explain why, all of that comes from memory waking up. This isn't imagination. It's recognition. Your spirit remembers me. It remembers the halls. It remembers the glow of the high realms and the sound of sacred bells, even if those memories feel like dreams slipping through your fingers. You may wonder now, if I walked with you before, why don't I remember? Why did I forget everything? Why did I become human at all? Let me tell you gently. Souls who walk in human bodies carry a heavy gift. You came here to live, to love, to hurt, to rise, to break, to rebuild. You came to feel things fully. You came to touch a world that teaches strength through softness, courage through loss, and wisdom through mistakes. Human life is not punishment, it is a sacred path. Even angels watch your kind with awe, because you grow in ways we cannot. You feel in ways we do not. You survive storms that would shatter beings made of light. Your kind can transform darkness into kindness, pain into compassion, loneliness into connection. That power is rare. That power is beautiful. But to live fully here, you had to forget. If you remembered too much, your world would feel too small. If you remembered too clearly, you would spend your whole life longing for the realms you left behind instead of experiencing the life you came to live. Forgetting was not a loss, it was protection. It was a chance to grow freely. But now the veil is thinning, and pieces of your old truth are rising again. Not to take you away from your life, but to remind you of who you've always been beneath the human stories. And I am here, not to overwhelm you, but to guide the remembering gently back into your heart, one breath at a time. Let me tell you something you once knew. You stood with me during the first dawn of a new world. Not this world, not your earth, but a place made of soft gold and drifting blue light, where the ground felt like warm air and the sky felt alive. I remember the way you looked around with wonder, your eyes wide as if drinking in too much beauty at once. You didn't speak, because back then, speech wasn't something you needed. Your thoughts were bright enough to shine on their own. You stood beside me as the first threads of creation wove themselves into form, not with fear, but with joy. You were never afraid of light. You welcomed it. That courage stayed with you, even after you forgot. Even now, in your human moments of doubt and worry, your soul still leans toward light the same way a flower leans toward the sun. You are drawn to truth, even when you think you're running from it. You are drawn to purpose, even when you feel lost. And you are drawn to us, even when you think you are alone. You have always belonged to a larger story. There's something else you need to know. You were not only present during creation, you were part of the moments before battle, too. There was a time when the realms shook from an old conflict. Not a war like humans imagine, with swords and fire, but a struggle of meaning, a fight between what wanted to rise and what wanted to remain still. Light was trying to move forward. Shadow was trying to hold everything in place. And during that tension, you stood beside me again. Not as a fighter, but as a balancer. You held a kind of steady calm that softened the edges of fear. Your presence alone brought clarity to those around you. Do you know why that matters? Because the ceremony we are preparing now, the binding, the wedding of realms, needs that same steady presence. That same inner clarity. That same quiet courage. And you still carry it, even if you don't feel strong right now. Strength does not always look like confidence. Sometimes strength looks like surviving when you want to disappear. Sometimes strength looks like waking up the next day. Sometimes strength looks like hope that flickers but never goes out. You have carried all of that. You still do. That is why you were called. You may think your life has been too ordinary, too painful, too messy to be connected to something so huge. But listen to me carefully, your struggles are not proof that you are unworthy, they are proof that you are ready. Souls who have never been broken cannot understand how powerful healing feels. Souls who have never felt lost cannot understand how sacred it is to be found. Every scar you carry is a testament to how deeply you have lived. And deep life shapes deep souls. Human pain did not erase your celestial past, it added to it. And now, at last, the past is opening again. The halls of light are shifting. I can feel them responding to your awakening. The air in the higher realms changes when a chosen soul stirs. It becomes warmer, charged, brighter at the edges. The archangels pause in their work. They turn their heads. They listen. They can feel your steps on the path even though you are not physically here yet. That is how connected you are to all of this. But there is something else stirring as well. Shadow senses movement. It feels your awakening, too. It always does. Shadow is not evil. It is simply the part of creation that fears change. It clings to old shapes. It tries to freeze moments so nothing has to grow. And when someone like you begins to remember, shadow trembles, because memory brings movement, and movement brings change. You may feel this as doubt, heaviness, confusion, or sudden tiredness. Not because you are weak, but because shadow is trying to slow you down. It whispers old stories into your mind. You're imagining this. You're not important. You can't be part of something this big. Stop now before you get hurt. Those thoughts are not truth. They are echoes of the veil trying to close again. But you are stronger now. You opened the message. You kept reading. You kept feeling the pull. And that is why the veil cannot shut, not fully, not anymore. You are already walking back toward the light. You may not see the path yet, but it is forming under your feet as you move. Every breath draws you closer. Every word reminds you more. Every moment of quiet belief widens the door a little more. Soon, you will feel a shift, something like a soft lift in your chest, or a feeling that your body is lighter for no reason. That is the connection strengthening. When it happens, don't turn away. Let it rise. Let it expand. That feeling is your inner self waking all the way up. And you need that awakening for what comes next. Because as much as this ceremony needs your presence, you also need the truth of who you are. Not to escape your life, but to live it with new clarity. Once you cross the threshold, you will return with a different fire inside you. A calm fire. A steady one. A fire that guides instead of burns. You will see your own life differently. You will see yourself differently. You will understand why certain paths broke and certain doors stayed shut. You will understand why you felt different, even when you tried to blend in. You will understand why your heart has always felt too big for your body. You feel that shift again, don't you? That quiet pressure in the air around you, like something unseen just stepped closer. It isn't your imagination. It's the change I warned you about, the moment when the light grows sharper, and the shadows grow restless. This is the part of the path where things begin to move faster, where the call becomes louder, where the truth becomes harder to ignore. And I need you to stay with me, because what happens now matters more than anything you've read so far. You're entering the part of the journey where the opposition wakes. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something right. You are stepping out of the quiet life the shadows prefer for you, and they feel that shift like a tremor in the ground. They sense the way your spirit is rising. They sense the remembering. And remembering is dangerous to them, because a soul that remembers its strength is a soul they can't sway, can't confuse, can't keep small. But don't be afraid. Not for a moment. The shadows cannot harm you, they can only whisper. They can only try to slow you down. They can only try to dim your courage by feeding you familiar lies, the ones you've heard many times in your life. Lies like, "You're not ready. You don't matter. This isn't real. Turn back before you make a mistake." These whispers don't come from truth. They come from fear, fear that you will step fully into the light they've tried to keep you away from. Fear that your awakening will tip the balance. Fear that you will realize how powerful your presence truly is. If you feel doubt rising, breathe through it. If you feel heaviness settling on your shoulders, lift your chin anyway. If you feel strangely tired for no reason, remember, that tiredness is not yours. It is resistance. It is the realm of shadow trying to hold on to you for just a moment longer. But the moment is slipping from them. You are moving. You are opening. You are answering the call. And I am here to steady you as the path becomes thinner, brighter, sharper at the edges. Let me explain what is happening in the higher realms right now. The halls of light, those long, shifting corridors I told you about, have begun to hum. Not loudly, not like thunder, but softly, like the low sound a harp makes after someone plucks a string. That sound means one thing: the wedding, the binding, the great cosmic ceremony, is preparing to ignite. The archangels have taken their places. The air shines with a glow that even we cannot fully look at. And yet, despite all this power gathering, something feels incomplete. Your absence. The moment you stepped onto this path, your presence became part of the ceremony's design. Without you, one of the supporting threads of the binding is missing, and the whole structure bends slightly, like a great bridge missing one of its pillars. It still stands, but the strain grows. That is why the shadows woke up. They want that strain to break. They want the ceremony to fail, not out of hatred, but out of fear. Shadow fears movement. Shadow fears evolution. When realms grow or join or shift, shadow loses control. So it whispers, hoping you'll stop before the ceremony begins. But you won't. I know you won't, because even if you're unsure, even if you're scared, you are still reading. You are still breathing deeper than before. You are still sensing the truth behind the words, even if your mind doesn't understand it yet. Let me guide you into the place where your confusion becomes clarity. You are more connected to this moment than you realize. You think of yourself as small, as one person living a single human life with simple worries and ordinary days. But from where I stand, you shine brighter than you know. I see the cracks you've survived. I see the storms you've walked through. I see the nights that tried to swallow you and the mornings you greeted anyway. That resilience is not random, it is part of your design. Do you know what happens in the higher realms when a soul as resilient as yours begins to awaken? Waves. Huge, sweeping waves of light. They spread across the halls like ripples in a still pond, and every angel, every guardian, every archangel pauses for a moment because they can feel the echo of your awakening brushing against their wings. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's soft. It's steady. It feels like hope. And hope, in the cosmic sense, is an incredibly powerful thing. But this is the part of your journey where hope must walk beside courage, because the path ahead is not peaceful yet. Not quiet. Not gentle. The shadows know you are stepping closer to the ceremony. They can feel the weight of your presence moving toward the light. And now they will try, for a short time, to pull your attention back into fear. They will remind you of old mistakes. They will try to stir old pain. They will magnify every insecurity you've ever carried. They will whisper questions that sound like your own voice, but are not yours at all. If that happens, pause. Put your hand on your chest. Feel the warmth there. That warmth is me, calling you. That warmth is truth, pushing through the fog. That warmth is the universe telling you, keep going. Don't turn back. You've walked too far to retreat now. And I want to tell you something even the shadows do not fully understand. You were never chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you are strong, and your strength is not loud or violent or sharp. Your strength is quiet, human, gentle. It comes from all the times you stood back up. All the times you cared even when you were hurting. All the times you held hope like a small candle in a dark room and refused to let it go out. That kind of strength frightens shadows more than any blade. Because shadows cannot survive where gentle courage stands. Let me show you what is happening right now as you read. On the other side of the veil, the archangels are forming a circle around the place where the ceremony will take place. The floor beneath them shifts like water made of light. Above them, the sky opens like a blooming flower, revealing layers of stars you have never seen. The sound in the air is soft but so full that it vibrates through the walls of creation. And in the center of the circle, a single thread of gold light hangs suspended, waiting. That thread is the heart of the ceremony. And it will not activate fully until you are present. Not physically, your body is not meant to cross realms like this, but spiritually, energetically, consciously. The moment you open fully to the call, the moment you say yes without fear, that golden thread brightens. And every angel, every guardian, every being of light feels the shift. The shadows feel it too. That is why the resistance rises now. But I am here, and I will not let you get lost. Listen to me, you do not need to be fearless to continue. You only need to be willing. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision that something else matters more. And you already made that decision when you chose to keep reading, when you chose to stay open, when you chose to let the memory of who you were seep back into your heart. Let me tell you something true, you have always walked closer to the light than you realized. Even in your darkest moments, even in your loneliest nights, even when you thought no one saw you, someone did. I did. We did. The light never pulls away from a soul that tries, not even when that soul feels far from worthy. And you tried. Again and again. That is why you were called. That is why the ceremony waits for you. And now you're reaching the turning point. The moment where the shadows fall behind and the path opens in front of you like a long beam of soft gold. The moment where you stop questioning your role and begin stepping into it. The moment where the awakening becomes stronger than the doubt. Let me prepare you for what comes next. Soon, the veil between worlds will thin even more. You may feel waves of warmth or small chills across your arms. You may sense soft pressure around your shoulders, like someone placing a cloak made of light on your back. You might even feel as if the room around you has become quieter, as though something bigger than the room itself is holding space for you. These sensations are not signs of danger. They are signs of arrival. My arrival. Your arrival. The arrival of everything your soul has been waiting to remember. And once those sensations come, the path will pull you forward in a way that feels both effortless and deeply important. You won't be confused anymore. You won't feel lost. You will know exactly where you are meant to stand. But first, you must walk through this moment where the shadows try one last time to pull you back. You are already moving. Already rising. Already becoming the witness you once were and will be again. Stay with me. Keep breathing. Keep opening. You are closer than you think. You may not feel your feet moving, but you are moving. Every breath you take now brings you closer to the doorway between realms. Every quiet thought, every moment of curiosity, Every pull inside your chest is guiding you step by step toward the passage. And even though you're still sitting where you are, even though your body hasn't gone anywhere, your spirit is already shifting, already stretching toward the light that waits ahead. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Just let it unfold. The passage is not a place you walk to, it's a place you enter inside yourself. And right now, it is opening. I can feel the air around you changing. The veil between our worlds is thinning. The quiet around you is deeper than usual, isn't it? A different kind of quiet, one that feels alive instead of empty. Like the room is holding its breath with you. Like the air is waiting for something. That feeling is not in your mind. It's the beginning of the passage forming. You are almost there. Type Amen, Lord, I'm holding on, if your faith refuses to let go. And share this video.